This Thanksgiving Eve, dozens of families whose loved ones were taken hostage in Israel are facing a gut-wrenching night ahead as they wait to see if the rallying cry, "Bring them home," will finally be realized. Under the hostage release deal, the final details of which are still being negotiated, those families could begin to get some answers starting tomorrow, 10 a.m. local time, 3 a.m. here in the East. That is when a ceasefire is expected to commence and the first wave of hostages released. In total, 50 women and children, including babies, toddlers, and at least 3 Americans will be freed over a 4-day period in exchange for 150 Palestinian prisoners. For the families, this is excruciating. As the New York Times put it, this is a moment of, quote, both hope and agony, because it remains unclear which of the hostages will be released. And given that the first wave of hostages will be women and children only, it also raises the possibility that families could be separated, leaving behind fathers who were taken captive with their children. There is a lot of uncertainty right now, and some details of the deal are still being hammered out. But a short time ago, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu shared some intriguing new details about the role of the Red Cross.
The current outline will not include the release of murderers, and it does include the agreement of representatives of the Red Cross for their visits to the hostages and bringing medicines to them. And I've heard that the Red Cross says that they haven't heard about it, but this is the explicit item in the deal. The Red Cross will be allowed to visit the hostages and give them any medicine that they need. And I do expect of the Red Cross to do their job.
Joining our conversation, NBC News correspondent David Noriega in Tel Aviv, and with me at the table, former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren, and former director of hostage recovery for the U.S. government, Christopher O'Leary. David, let's start with you. The latest reporting is that Israel and Hamas, they are still hammering out the final details. Help us understand the sticking points.
Yeah, Alicia, there are a few things that we don't exactly know yet. One of them, for example, is how exactly the aid that is going to enter Gaza over the course of this 4-day ceasefire is going to be distributed. As you pointed out, even though we've been getting details throughout the course of the day, perhaps the most important detail, at least certainly for the families of these hostages, is still unknown, which is the identity of those hostages that will be released. That means that this moment is truly excruciating for those families, right? Even though this is really, one might say, the first moment of hope since this conflict started, it is also, here in Tel Aviv tonight, an extremely quiet, tense, and anxious night. Alicia?
David, walk us through how the release of hostages will work. 50 hostages over the course of 4 days. The first wave of women and children, they'll have been held hostage for 47 days. They may be injured. They will certainly be traumatized. What happens first? And then how soon can the families be reunited?
The expectation is that the hostages will be released in groups of at least 10 per day until they reach that number of 50. The top priority, according to the Israeli government, is the mental and physical health of the hostages. So there are 6 hospitals inside Israel that are prepared to receive these hostages under very sort of particular specialized parameters and circumstances. The Israeli Ministry of Welfare released a very, very detailed guide for the workers, including IDF soldiers, who will be handling this release. It includes things like, giving children hostages the choice of whether or not they want to do things like take a shower. As far as the question of when they will be able to see family, that's expected to happen pretty much right away. The Israeli government wants to make sure that these children in particular are greeted by familiar faces, greeted by family, but they are placing pretty strict limits on how many people are there to greet each one of these hostages. They don't want them to get overwhelmed with, people like extended family, strangers, certainly no media. And these details are coming out, but the idea is that they will take care of the mental and physical health first, and they will reunite them with their families as soon as materially possible. Alicia?
Chris, you have seen this many, many times. We keep being warned this is extremely tenuous. Tell us why.
Well, it's tenuous because you're dealing with a terrorist organization. They're not a legitimate partner in a negotiation. They are doing this for effect. They're doing it for propaganda reasons. They're doing it to buy time. So although this is a great win for the victims that are being released and their families, it's only a small piece. And it's actually, giving the tactical advantage back to Hamas. They're living to fight another day, and they're protracting this conflict. And it's, it's very calculated, very manipulative. I think we will see episodic releases of additional hostages as times go on. But it's almost an ominous sign for the IDF soldiers that are being held. If it was this difficult to get an agreement on women and children, how difficult is it going to be to eventually get the release of IDF soldiers? So I think it brings you back to the point where you can't just rely on the negotiations. You have to continue your counterterrorism operations. You have to squeeze Hamas. You have to gather intelligence and develop parallel lines of effort that if negotiations break down, you're not throwing your hands up, frustrated, that you have something to pivot to, which is Israel has got some of the finest counterterrorism and hostage rescue forces in the world. They will continue to try to work this problem and find solutions.
Ambassador.
He's absolutely right. Chris is absolutely right. Keep in mind, the one thing that Hamas needs more than anything else is a ceasefire. Ceasefire means Hamas gets away with mass murder. It means Israel loses. We have 250,000 people who are homeless tonight. They can't go back to their homes along the border if Hamas is able to reorganize or rearm and launch another attack, because that's exactly what their leaders say. We're going to do this a second time, third time, fourth time. You wouldn't go back, to that border town with your kids either. So the ceasefire is the key here, and they're going to play. Hamas is going to play for that ceasefire. So they get a 5-day ceasefire, and that's going to create tremendous pressure on the government of Israel, because there will be governments in the world and people here in the United States as well saying, well, you agreed to 5 days, why not 10 days? And maybe if you get another 3 or 4 hostages for the next 5 days, you can keep going. At the end of the day, though, and I'm sure, Chris, you'd agree with me, is that Hamas won't release all the hostages, because once it does, Israel then can flood those tunnels. It could set those tunnels on fire, and that's the end of Hamas. So Hamas is always going to hold on to a certain number of hostages. There's no deal out there where they release all the hostages unless some of us are old enough to remember 1982 when the PLO left Beirut. And they were evacuated from Beirut while Israel laid siege to Beirut. I could conceive of a situation where Hamas is surrounded and they get a get-out-of-Gaza free card. You say, OK, we're going to give you back all the hostages. You put us on a boat and send us somewhere. I think Israel would go for that deal, but it's a long shot.
I want to ask you, David, I know that you've spoken with some of the families and they've expressed some reservations. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, I should be careful with this a little bit, Alicia, because a lot of the families are willing to talk about some of these things much more freely off camera than they're willing to talk on camera. None of them want to appear critical of this deal because everyone wants as many hostages to be released as possible, particularly women and children. However, some people will be left behind. And while Prime Minister Netanyahu is facing pressure from his right, for example, with regards to releasing any Palestinian prisoners, he's also facing pressure from some of these families who are saying we should have agreed to an everyone for everyone deal where all of the hostages are released in exchange for all Palestinian prisoners in Israeli custody. The fear among some of the family members is that once the women and children are released, that will deflate some of the urgency in releasing the remaining hostages, such as adult males and other people who are seen as less vulnerable. They're afraid essentially that they're going to be left behind and forgotten. And that fear is very real and it's very intense. And again, it's one of the things that's making the atmosphere here in Israel tonight both hopeful for some people, but also extremely anxious for many others. Alicia?
Ambassador,
yeah.
I want to talk about one of the potential hostages, a 3-year-old named Abigail. I want you to take a listen to something her aunt told MSNBC. Here it is.
I think about her brother and sister who both watched their parents be murdered on October 7th. And Abigail coming home for them, for the grandparents, for the family, for all of us, is that one hope to have her back, embrace her. Her birthday is on Friday. She's turning 4. And to just imagine that she comes home and is with her family is our light right now in such a very dark and terribly, terribly horrific period.
Ambassador, is my understanding that you know Abigail's family?
I know Liz Naftali very well. For many, many years, her daughter worked for me at my embassy. What can I say? It's not heartbreaking. It's soul crushing. The whole thing. I have grandchildren that age, and I can't imagine being in that situation. The whole thing, Lisa, is intensely personal. We can talk in abstracts about ceasefires and all sorts of strategic ramifications, because there are strategic ramifications. At the end of the day, it's about people, and it's about people we know. There is not a single Israeli who doesn't know somebody, at least one, who has either been taken hostage, that was killed on October 7th, have children in Gaza fighting tonight, Some of them are not coming home. All of that. You have a ceasefire. Hamas is going to use it to reorganize and rearm. It's going to kill soldiers. And so you have a soldier's life versus a hostage life. You know, by training, I'm an historian, and I looked back in history. I can't find another government in history that had to make decisions like this. It is absolutely excruciating.